Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to continue reading from the book How to DAO Wisdom for the Now, and we're going to be talking about the first principle, the spiritual tree. Gaze upon a tree and you may also imagine a metaphor of a spiritual tree that represents our own growth and interactions within our own world. Nourish our development, grow the limbs strong, and we will be able to overcome difficulties, achieve success, find true freedom. Neil Carmi. Now, the spiritual tree is a way of understanding our growth and our souls. And like a tree, we are rooted in something ancient and divine. We grow, we stretch, we bloom, we shed, always reaching higher while staying deeply connected. So this is a beautiful chapter. The spiritual tree has 5 parts, but first I'm going to read the description and then we'll talk about the parts. Principle description. The spiritual tree can represent human consciousness and serve as a tool to help us develop behaviors that lead to a more positive life. The metaphor of the spiritual tree enables us to see that our individual lives are our own spiritual trees. A person's life is determined by the choices they make and where they put their energy and attention. Ultimately, the success of our lives depends on our roots as they hold up the tree during strong storms and tough weather. If we only spray water on the branches, fruit, and leaves of the tree, it won't do much to grow the fruit. However, if we water the roots, they will carry nutrients to the entire tree. The tree's branches, trunk, and extremities will only grow as big and wide and tall as the root structure of the tree. The metaphor can transfer to success in our own lives. Therefore, this book, How to DAO Wisdom for the Now, will serve you for a long time through studying and applying the principles. The spiritual tree has 5 parts. Here we go. Is that the IQ, the intelligence quotient, which is the flower, the leaves. The second one is the EQ, the emotional quotient, which is the twigs of the trees. The third one is the social quotient, which is the branch of the tree. The fourth is the adversity quotient, which is represented by the trunk of the tree. And the fifth is the spiritual quotient, which is the root of the tree. The first one, the IQ, the intelligence quotient, which is the flower, the leaves, is beautiful and nourishes new generations. We use knowledge to make good choices, and wisdom is developed by applying knowledge to an activity during our life. Flowers are beautiful, and in the human world, we sometimes judge so much on appearances. Though flowers do not last long, this is often what is admired the most. With proper growth, the flowers will turn into a seed, plant itself, and lead to further growth and wisdom. Intelligence can be used for introspection and to understand principles that will then create a deeper spiritual connection, spreading this knowledge with the seeds, growing new trees. The second one, the emotional quotient, which is the twigs. The emotional quotient represents a person's ability to manage their emotions and avoid harming themselves or others. To cultivate emotional quotient, a person ought to focus on awareness and observe their thoughts. Meditation can help us develop softness with ourselves and with people in our lives. By managing our emotions, we avoid the congee pot explosion. Congee pot is another principle that we're going to be speaking about later. With emotional development, we can learn the tools to positively manage our emotions, which is so important because if we let the emotions run our lives, it's pure chaos. We teach ourselves about forgiveness and impermanence. The third one, the social quotient, the branch, develops positive friendships and serves others. Developing our social quotient improves our ability to be with other people, whether they are partners, friends, children, grandchildren, students, teachers, bosses, employees, mentors, or apprentices. This is about people understanding spiritual wisdom in a social situation, thereby serving and supporting others with the 3 ways of giving. The 3 ways of giving is another principle that we will be studying later on. The fourth one is the adversity quotient. The trunk is the ability to withstand the inevitable adversities of life. That's why it's the trunk. It's really nice and solid. As young people grow and explore the world, they will encounter challenges and failures. If we develop strong roots with the spiritual strength of family and community, we grow and thus can weather the failure and hardship encountered on our journey. When the inevitable storms arise at large, a strong tree trunk will bend but not break. A light, narrow trunk with many branches and many flowers is at risk from the weight of our emotions, social obligations, and our intellectual pursuits. We need strong roots and experiences of life to strengthen the trunk for adversity. If we do not use spiritual wisdom during a moment of adversity, then we will learn nothing new and take nothing from it. And thus, even after the adversity, there will still be a narrow adversity quotient. This can lead to risk and despair. This is about helping people with family, business, and deep relationships. And the last one, the SQ, the spiritual quotient, the roots, is our spiritual morals and integrity. It is a village we live in that will encourage our success. The spiritual quotient is the foundation of our lives, and just like a tree, it can only grow as large as its root structure is capable of supporting. This is about our spiritual growth, family, the interconnectedness of our community, and the values we hold. It is beneficial to understand the 3 ways of giving and phenomenon, function, and essence, which is other principles that we will be talking later, when cultivating this foundation. This is about developing wisdom that is distinct from the regular type of knowledge gained through reading. This kind of wisdom comes from direct experience and the application of knowledge over time. It is through this process that we can grow our spiritual quotient and in turn cultivate a life of goodness, trueness, and beauty. As we focus on developing our spiritual quotient, we can harness its power to promote growth, deepen our wisdom, and strengthen our connection to our families and communities. In doing so, we can create a life that is truly fulfilling and aligned with our highest values. How to use. We can apply this understanding in our daily life by focusing on all 5 aspects of the spiritual tree to help us cultivate a more positive and fulfilling life and achieve true freedom. Number 1, focus on our spiritual quotient and make it the foundation of our lives. This means developing our spiritual morals and integrity and surrounding ourselves with a supportive community that encourages our growth and success. Suggested principles: the 9 circles, serving others, 3 ways of giving, phenomenon, function, and essence, thought window, CO2, self-attachment, and the grandfather clock. Once again, those are principles that we will be reading about in the future chapters. Number 2, cultivate our EQ, our emotional quotient, by becoming aware of our thoughts and emotions, practicing mindfulness and meditation, and learning to manage our emotions in a positive and healthy way. And the suggested principles to work on our emotional quotient are the temper model, awareness shift thought redefinition, CO2, automatic keying system, the 9 circles, how to share negative feedback, and phenomenon, function, and essence. Number 3, develop our social quotient by forming positive friendships and serving others. This will improve our ability to connect with others and support them in their growth and development. Suggested principles: how to share negative feedback, the 9 circles, grandfather clock, and automatic keying system. Number 4, strengthen our adversity quotient by facing challenges and failures with resilience and determination. This requires having a strong support system and developing the ability to withstand adversity through experiencing new events and overcoming fears. Suggested principles: temper model, the cockroach, awareness shift thought redefinition. Yeah, the cockroach is another principle. And number 5, nourish our IQ, our intelligence quotient, by gaining knowledge and wisdom through direct experiences and applying what we have learned. This will help us make good choices and grow as individuals. The suggested principles: 40-watt laser, focus and diffuse, awareness shift thought redefinition, automatic keying system, and the 9 circles. Case studies and examples. A student was experiencing a rough time while feeling lost and disconnected from the closest people in his life. While the person reflected on the principles of the spiritual tree, he decided to put in place some of the lessons and looked first at his emotional quotient. The student read, amongst others, the principle of the temper model and became more aware of his emotions. This person became aware that all humans, since the dawn of time, feel stress with occasions of high emotions. He began to observe his thoughts and became more aware of actions with reactions and learned to manage them in a positive way. The student also started to focus on the social quotient of the tree to help develop positive relationship with family and friends. After reading how to share negative feedback, the student implemented a program with his family and found that everyone learned so much about each other. This person then started to look at growing the spiritual quotient, the root, and practiced more of the DAO principles. As the student started to serve others and participate in community activities, he started to feel a sense of purpose and belonging. As he worked further on his spiritual growth, he began to become aware of noticeable improvements in his overall well-being and became more resilient at the face of adversity. He noticed the interconnectedness of his life and the lives of those around him. And as the student learned to focus on all aspects of his life, and as he developed a more positive and fulfilling existence, he felt more confident, safe, and achieved a sense of true freedom. We don't always begin the spiritual journey when we are younger. Starting early to develop one's spiritual quotient would lead to a happier, less stressful life. Many people can successfully navigate life without formally learning the principles, for they gain their own intuitive understanding of the rhythm of life. There are those that successfully navigate adversity, building, metaphorically, a strong tree trunk. Few have the ability on their own to develop a strong, healthy, perfectly formed tree, though it's never too late to start. A person recently retired after a successful career in many diverse and interesting industries. They gained wealth, respect from peers, and raised successfully a family. Upon retiring, they realized that over their lifetime, they had accumulated some feelings of regret, self-attachment, and memories of failure that would not leave. They started to practice the principles within the spiritual tree and began to visualize themselves as a tree, rooted firmly in the earth with branches reaching towards the sky. This helped them to connect with the natural world and find a sense of grounding. The tree was the start of their spiritual journey to grow and evolve. Over time, they gained knowledge of each of the 5 parts of the spiritual tree and practiced, when required, the different principles in everyday life. Steadily, the person found peace, calm, and all negative thought disappeared. Modern day circumstances. Practicing the spiritual tree principle can help with responsibility. Taking responsibility for your actions, whether at home or at work, is an important principle. This involves acknowledging and addressing your mistakes and making an effort to do better in the future. Help from the chapters Awareness Shift Thought Redefinition and the Thought Window. Self-discipline. The ability to control your own thoughts and actions is a key principle for success. This includes staying focused, avoiding distractions, and staying motivated. Help from the chapters Automatic Keying System, Focus and Diffuse. Goal setting. Setting and working towards specific, measurable goals is a principle that can be applied in all areas of life. This includes setting personal and professional goals, as well as setting goals for your relationship and overall life purpose. Help from the chapters 40-watt laser and automatic keying system. Emotional intelligence. Understanding your own emotions as well as those of others is essential for healthy relationships and overall well-being. Emotional intelligence involves empathy, self-awareness, and the ability to regulate your own emotions. Help from the chapters Temper Model, CO2, Removing Attachment. Integrity. Being honest, trustworthy, and acting with integrity is a principle that is essential in all aspects of life. This involves adhering to a strong moral code, treating others with respect, and doing what is right, even when it is difficult. Help from the chapters The 9 Circles, Serving Others, and 3 Ways of Giving. Communication. Good communication skills are essential in both personal and professional settings. Listening actively, expressing your thoughts and feelings clearly, and avoiding misunderstandings are key principles of effective communication. Help from chapters The Thought Window and Grandfather Clock. Personal growth. Continuously working towards personal growth and self-improvement is a key principle that can be applied in all areas of life. This includes taking responsibility for your own development, learning new skills, and expanding your knowledge and understanding of the world around you. Help from the chapters Phenomenon, Function, and Essence. In conclusion, the principle of the spiritual tree is a powerful tool for understanding the interconnection of various aspects of a person's life and how they contribute to their overall success and happiness. Congratulations on finding this book. This Tao wisdom has an affinity to you and has been passed down through thousands of years to arrive in your hands. And that was the spiritual tree. Hope you enjoy and see you next time.